Hey guys, welcome back to GameSpot's ongoing coverage, E3 2013, and I've got Dean Hall on DayZ. We're taking a look at the pre-alpha build of the game. Dean, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks very much. Good to have us.
Let's talk through what's happening on screen. This is obviously very different to the game that people are playing now.
Yeah, very different. And I guess people are, for the first time, are seeing, what we spent all this time doing.
Let's talk about crafting first up. That's probably the easiest one. Actually, let's talk inventory while we've got the screen open. Sure. You mentioned that if you're near enough to items now, you'll be able to fill them in on the left-hand side of the screen, or organically pick them up manually by going to first person.
Yeah, exactly. So the vicinity thing is quite important, because sometimes, because of the way everything works, it's difficult to get close enough for you to actually pick something up. But yeah, you can only see items in there that are actually available to you to pick up anyway. So it's the idea was we wanted to make it a lot easier to deal with the inventory and deal with stuff that's around. But quite a lot of the time you'll actually be running around selecting them manually and picking them up and that anyway. So. And
it's not a case of you walk into a room and know everything around you. You still will need to scavenge.
Exactly. It's got a very small range, and for a lot of items you're actually going to need to crawl down and collect them manually and that kind of stuff.
Right. So while we're in the inventory system here, let's talk about the combination of the crafting that can be done.
Yep. Yeah, so you can see in his t-shirt there he's got two little map things. So each of those maps is actually a part, a portion. So that's one there, that's 1/4 of a map, and that's the other quarter. And he can actually go inside his inventory, drag them on top of each other, and craft them into one map that you'll see is actually the two maps combined. So it's a pretty rudimentary example of the power of what we have with the crafting system. Now, I guess the important thing to make people aware of is that this is all done on a server. So all this stuff is actually done server-side, so we don't have the same issues with scripting and hacking that we had with the Arma 2 mod.
And you've also got the water purification option as well?
Yeah, exactly. So you can't really see it because we haven't changed the camera handles for all these 3D items, but he's hovering over there, the purification tablets, and he can put those on that as a bottle of dirty water, purify the water, and now it's clean. So if he drinks that, then now it's actually clean water. He's not going to get cholera or something like that.
Yeah. Beyond the map and the water example, will there be additional crafting that players will be able to do in the game? Yeah,
we've got about 220 recipes set up at the moment, but we only recently got the crafting system fully in, so now it's a matter of configuring it all and getting it all together and putting the content in. And I guess that's the exciting thing for us, is the architecture is now done and working, and it's up to polishing it and getting it all put together and making it fun.
Can you give us some specific examples? So, can you go and find two weapons and a roll of duct tape and turn it into some crazy combination weapon?
Yeah, so an example being you can get a knife, you can find some wood, you can sharpen the wood into a pole, and then you can, if you've got tape, you can tape the knife to the pole and make an improvised kind of spear.
Yep. Excellent. Now we're indoors here. Quick question, obviously, the buildings are a lot more accessible in DayZ Standalone than they are in the current mod. Can you enter everything in the game world now?
Not literally everything, probably about 95% of things. Some of the bigger factory buildings and stuff like that were a bit impractical to actually, in a quick amount of time, get everything done. So, yeah, so that's what we'll be looking at. We're just going to keep going through, making stuff. At the moment, we've actually got our artists making more new buildings and stuff like that, like we got the shipwreck and prison, stuff like that. Yeah.
Clothing as well. We found a nice little red hat, or pink hat. Cosmetics is a part of it. Previously, you could find the ghillie suits. Other than something different to look at on screen, is there an active role to any of the cosmetic elements of the game?
Yeah, absolutely. So one good example at the moment is the motorbike helmet. So the motorbike helmet provides you a lot of protection from melee attacks, from being knocked down by zombies, that kind of thing. So that's a good example of an equipment item that helps you there. A lot of the time as well, you get problems from if the weather's cold and you don't have warm gear on, your character will start to get cold and they might get sick.
Knockdown, you mentioned it. A couple of new changes coming that you can actually be pushed over by the undead. Can players do that as well?
Not at the moment. We haven't done the melee system yet. So obviously the melee system in the mod was a hack, and what we really wanted to do was have a much better melee system that actually was really quite fluid and just a lot more polished. So we're working on that, and then players will be able to knock down other players, that kind of thing.
And stumble as well. We can talk about stumble and perhaps the preparedness for weapons at the same time then, because they both seem to be those situations where you do take a slight performance hit for doing particular things. Tell us about stumble firstly, and as we go here, the ability to have a rifle ready to go as opposed to running with it.
Yeah, so stumble is basically, you can see, and it's all placeholder at the moment, when the zombie hits you, and obviously you note that we've got a problem at the moment where the attack isn't sequenced with the animation. It's something we're fixing next week. We've redesigned the system, so it's one of those things that's just sticking with it until we put the new system in. But yeah, so you get hit by a zombie and there's some kind of animation played with some kind of penalty, so that it feels a little bit more visceral. And actually, there's a chance that the zombies can actually knock you completely over. And once we've got more different types of attacks in, you'll actually see that happening from if a zombie jump attack hits you. So we're going to get a lot more specialized there. What you're really seeing here is just very, very prototype, early work with the zombies, which are going to be a work in progress for a long time.
So in terms of the gun preparedness, you can walk with the rifle fairly close to you at speed, or have it ready to go for a shot on the run. Is there a penalty for that?
Yeah, so a big concern we had was the shoot on sight mentality, and that we were part of the problem because of the way we designed the game. So that's where we actually looked at having it that you hold down a key to aim, and it sounded like a great idea, but it turns out it was a really bad idea. So we ditched that, and now we have this thing where the weapon is usually lowered if you do something, like open a door or something like that. But if you raise it, you can actually raise it by pushing the left mouse button, or you can get into weapon preparedness mode with T and switch your stances, so you can either fire from the hip or fire from your shoulder. Obviously, firing from the hip, you're really just spraying bullets in every direction. But sometimes that's kind of important. So yeah, there is a bit of a penalty with that. But one thing that came out on Reddit was that some people were saying that they were worried that the new movement did feel a bit arcadey, because like if he goes down prone and that, you can see that he goes down very fast, so the character's a lot more responsive. Now that was something quite deliberate that we did, because we felt that a lot of people were concerned about the jankiness of armor and those kinds of things. So yeah, that was it was a significant concern. I think it's a valid point. It's something we need to consider. Maybe we're a little bit hypersensitive to the feedback from the mod being a bit janky and feeling like you've got a washing machine strapped to your back. So it's something we have to work with the community and ask them for feedback, and I guess that's what's going to happen when we get the alpha out.
And you mentioned community. You've talked previously about some of the stuff you want to do beyond the vanilla experience of being in the world, some of the bunkers and subterranean combat and defense. We've already seen that the community subdivide slightly and create some of their own sub-mods to do exactly that. What are the official plans for DayZ standalone for some of the features you've talked about previously? Yeah,
so I guess the big and most important thing is I want to take out the vehicles and redo them. So that the idea is that, like kind of customizing your weapon or customizing your character, you can actually take stuff off and put stuff onto the vehicle. Find a door somewhere and put that door onto the vehicle, maybe like up armor and that kind of stuff. So we want to deal to that first. Then we're going to get a little bit more advanced in with base building and underground structures and stuff like that. And we've got a couple of options there. One of them is definitely we do it instant style. So Skyrim, like you walk up to a grate, enter a dungeon and you go into a little area. But from there, I guess there's a couple of options. One of them is Red Faction style, digging it out in 3D. Love to do that, but there may be some multiplayer performance issues with that. If that was the case, we'd do it more like Evil Genius, isometric style base construction that you end up running around.
Perfect. Now, in terms of console version, we've heard about plans or hopes to do it in the past. Is there an update on that?
Yeah, look, I'd love to see this on the Xbox One. I'd love to see it on the PS4. But any console we go with needs to support self-publishing and not make us pay for updates. So, yeah, it has to be an indie-friendly console.
And tell us a little bit about it. We saw that you're going to include radio stations within the game world, and you're actually calling for submissions from people to be able to broadcast. Can you tell us more about the features and how that's actually going to be implemented?
Sure. So we went through and we redid the VoIP system that we had in game to improve it and fix some bugs. While we were doing that, a programmer created radio that you can use to communicate, like a walkie-talkie with other players. You can use it like a baby monitor by turning off the mic. Choose your frequency, so different frequencies, that kind of thing. And as part of that, we realized we could do streaming internet radio directly into the game. And so we're going to provide maybe 5 to 10 stations, give them an actual frequency in the game that players can set a traditional radio to and receive an internet streaming radio through the game.
Is that a static soundtrack that will play over time, or is it a weekly updated?
No, the idea is it's actually playing internet radio live in the game. Yeah, so that's what we wanted to do. And so, obviously it might not always have a person on it, but the idea was to open it up to the community and see if there was any interest in doing that.
Pirate radio?
Yeah, that's right, pirate radio.
Excellent. And lastly, you mentioned that this will open up for Steam Early Access once you hit official alpha. Have you got a ballpark time frame on that?
Well, look, we're talking about, we're very, very close. So we're talking about weeks or months really here. But we don't want to set an exact date because we really need to just tidy up where we're at and make sure we're free to, to take a couple extra days if something really important comes up.
Dean, thanks so much for taking us through a look at DayZ Standalone. You can check out more on the game on GameSpot.com, or go and head over to, if you've got questions on DayZ, make sure you tweet at us using the GameSpot E3 hashtag.